Now we'll demonstrate the same routine, but with just two cars on the track. This is car number 1 parked here, the red car, and the yellow car number 2 is parked back here. We don't have a button to access this, but it's in inputs. The routine that operates the two cars is in inputs 24 through 28. So I plug this Pro Cab into the test port, and we can run it as a test routine to access input 24, and that'll start this routine up for the two cars. And same as before, when that yellow car, car number 2, comes around the layout and gets in front of passes in front of the detector, it'll activate the block detector, which will close the Z-stuff relay, which will inform the mini panel, which will send a command to slow this yellow car from speed 20 down to speed 12 and start the other car up at speed 20. We're just using 2 speeds for this: speed 20 for the fast car and speed 12 for the slow car. So you can see the yellow car is now creeping along at speed 12, and the red car is out in front running on the main line at speed 20. So this is about the simplest DCC method I'm aware of to run 2 trains automatically, is to use this NCE mini panel and use a set of programs like a program like this. And basically, don't let the word program scare you. It's just simple train control commands. Like when that red car came across in front of the detector, we sent a command to select loco 1, which tells it to tells it's commanding the red car. Then we sent a speed forward 12 command, which slowed that red car down to speed 12. Then we sent a command select car 2, which is a yellow car, and then we sent a command speed forward 20, which speeded it up. Then we sent a delay statement. Now here comes the yellow car. We send it a speed forward 12 command after we selected it. The red car, we send it a speed forward 20 command after we've selected it. Then our other statement is our delay statement, which we use when it goes in front of the detector, because in the delay statement simply tells the mini panel to do nothing for a specified amount of time. We're using 2 seconds for our delay. If we don't put that delay in, if the detector may not have reset to green, and the program races ahead to the next part, which it shouldn't, and everything gets all messed up. So the delay statement's necessary to keep the program from executing too fast. And again, we've still got the repeat switch in operation. At the end of the routine, it checks to see if that repeat switch, which is connected to input number 18, is closed, and it keeps repeating. If we open the repeat switch, which I'm going to go do now, I just opened the repeat switch, and the routine will, I believe it'll wait till the red car comes in front of the detector, executes a delay statement, and I believe that's the end of the routine. It'll check and find that the switch is open, and it'll send speed 0 commands to both the cars. I forgot to mention that in the earlier discussion. When you terminate this operation, now we're doing the delay statement. There it stopped both cars. I forgot to mention earlier in this discussion, when you terminate the operation, you want to stop all the cars. So your termination routine, you send a speed 0 command to however many cars are on the track, so it stops them. And we're using speed reverse 0 command, so it puts their tail lights on. And again, as with the other routines, we can go and restart that. Now, if you really were using this on a display, you'd want to hook up a push button so you could start it with a push button. Now, we've added 6 commands to this 2-car routine to just change it slightly. It'll look like the 3-car routine did back in the previous video 831, when that yellow car number 2 that's out on the main line, when that crosses a detector, it'll be slowed down from speed 20 to speed 12 as before, but instead of continuing around the layout, it'll go for about 6 seconds past the detector and make a station stop approximately where you see the red car sitting now. And we do this just by adding about 3 commands to the sequence of commands. Now as it passes a detector, you can see it explodes from the speed 20 down to speed 12. The red car was started up at speed 20 and the yellow one was stopped. Now that'll sit there and wait until the red car completes the circuit of the layout and crosses a detector. Back in one of the previous videos with the 3 N-gauge trains, we demonstrated how you could actually use it like a branch in the programming by using an external hardware toggle switch to cause it to execute a slightly different set of routines, so that you could actually switch this on the fly to have the cars stop or have them keep moving. Now the red car just crossed the front of the detector. It's decreased to speed 12. The yellow one was started up at speed 20, and you can see the red car will sit there and wait. So this is just a slight change from the previous video clip you saw where both cars kept moving. As I was mentioning, you can do this with a branch in the programming if you have space. There's not space in the mini panel for what I've got it programmed now. I've got it programmed for running 4 cars and 3 cars and 2 cars, and I've used up all the commands, so I have just enough space to add these commands to cause it to work the way you're seeing it right now. Now if we go down there and open the repeat switch, same as before. Now I've opened the repeat switch, so the next time one of those cars, at some point it'll stop here. And this will work the same way as the previous demonstrations. You can use the repeat switch to start and stop your operation, and it'll sit and wait until somebody pushes the button again to start things up. Okay, now there they, with the repeat switch open, the sequence came to the end, checked for the repeat switch and found it was open, and sent speed 0 reverse commands to both cars, which stops them with their tail lights, and they'll sit there and wait until somebody pushes the start button, or in this case somebody starts the routine up again. I just started the routine again using the Pro Cab in the test mode, but this would normally be a run button, a start button that you could let the public push to start these cars up again. The documentation for this video, such as drawings, commands, and photos, can be found on the website AutoControls.wordpress.com, which is part of the AutoControls.org website and look for video number 832, which is this video. Also, getting started with the mini panel on that same web page, look for video number 816, which is a getting started video. And for this video, the components and the wiring, including the detectors, that's all the same as discussed in the previous video, number 831. So that discussion will not be duplicated here. Here's the commands for the two-car operation, which we showed in Demo 9, which was the second to the last video. We'll start with the two-car operation since it's simpler. When we first start the system, both these streetcars are sitting stationary. When we push the button to start them, that starts this little routine here. Select logo 2, that's streetcar number 2. Then we say speed forward 20, which starts this car, the yellow one, moving upstream of the detector toward the detector at a speed of 20. And then these commands turn on the headlight. Then we wait till input 14 is ground. That's what the detector is hooked up to. So basically we're waiting until this yellow car crosses in front of the detector. And when that happens, the detector will go from green to red and its relay will close, which will notify the mini panel that car just passed the detector. At that point, we'll have the mini panel issue a speed forward 12 command to this car number 2. So that means when this car crosses in front of the detector and enters the yard area, it'll be slowed from speed 20 down to speed 12. Next thing we do is we select logo 1, which is the red streetcar, and we start it up at speed 20. So it's out on the main line going at speed 20. And then we delay a quarter second times 8, which is 2 seconds. That's to allow this car to get past the detector. Actually, it's allowed the detector to reset itself. It needs a second or two to reset from red back to green. And at that point, we've completed all these commands, and we'll start the same thing all over for the next car. These commands are the same thing, except they're just reversed. And there's 3 commands actually hidden under these blue squares here. We'll come back to that later. But right now, once these cars start moving, they'll keep moving continuously, as you saw in Demo 9, until they stop. And so when it completes doing this for the second car, we come to our test whether to repeat or quit. And that's dependent on whether or not switch number 18 is closed. If it's closed, it goes back to input 24, which is the top of this routine, and just repeats it over again. However, if that switch is open, it doesn't go back to the top. It drops through to the shutdown sequence, and all that is we just send speed reverse 0 commands to both cars to stop them. And we, as mentioned before, we use the reverse because that turns the tail light on as well as the headlight. So those cars will sit there at speed 0 until somebody pushes the button or however starts this program, however, to start them up again. Here's the commands for continuously operating 3 cars. This is what we saw in Demo 8, and it's very similar to the 2-car operation. We just have a third set of commands for the third car. Now, as we look at these commands, car 2 is already selected. That's the one approaching the detector. Assuming it's running, it's selected because I think this was started by a push button and we selected it there. But we wait until input 14 is grounded. That's when car 2 crosses in front of the detector. Then we reduce its speed to 11, and then we select car 1, which is the one running at speed 11 right now, and we bump its speed up. We increase it to speed 12, and then we select, and we do this one first to get it out of the way of that car, and then we select car 3, that's this one, we increase its speed to 20, and that gets it moving at mainline speed because it's going to be the next one approaching the detector. And then again we have that 2-second delay to allow the detector to go back to green. And at that point, car 3 is going around the main line at speed 20 and it's approaching the detector, so we do the same thing all over again. Wait till it gets to the detector, reduce its speed to 11, and then select car 2 and speed it up to 12, and select car 1, speed it up to 20. And then the same sort of thing happens for the third car. And now we get to the bottom and it didn't fit on the page, but we go to the next page and we have our test whether to repeat or quit. Here's the last part of that demo 8 for 3-car operation. We've completed our commands for our 3 cars up here, and we come down to this test to repeat again. And again, we check whether our repeat switch 18 is open or not. If it's closed, that means we go back and repeat the commands. If it's open, which means we want to quit, we drop through to the shutdown sequence, and then we send speed 0 commands to all 3 cars to stop everything. So they'll stop and sit there and wait until the push button is pushed again. Now here's the commands for demos 6 and 7, where we run all 4 cars. And this was hooked to push button 3. So if we push button 3, it started this sequence. And recall, normally these will be all moving except when you first push the push button, none of them are moving. So when we first push the push button, it selects car 4, which is this one, and turns on the lights, gives it a speed forward 20 command, which starts this one, which is out on the main line, moving toward the detector. Then we wait till input 14 goes to ground. That's when this yellow car crosses in front of the detector. At that point, we reduce its speed to 10. That's the yellow car. It's crossed the detector and it'll be here. We reduce its speed to 10. The next car, which is car 3, this one we increase its speed to 11. Car 2, which is this car, we increase its speed to 12. So, and then car 1, which is the one in the front, we increase its speed to 20, which is the main line speed. So it'll be out on the main line heading toward the detector, and these 2 will be in the yard kind of creeping along. Actually, all 3 of these will be in the yard kind of creeping along. And then we get the part 2 in the sequence, and we'll do the same thing all over again for the next 3 cars. That same page again, now we're looking at the whole page. We just reviewed these commands. We basically send the same type of commands for part 2 when red car number 1 is approaching the detector. And in part 3 of our sequence, we send the same type of commands when car 2 is approaching the detector, and we've only got part of the commands on the page. We got to go to the next page to look at the rest of the commands. Here's the rest of the commands for that 4-car sequence. What you see at the top is the rest of the commands for running the 3rd car. And then here we have the commands for running the 4th car. And then down here, that same test to see if the repeat switch 18 is closed or not. If it's closed, we link the input 3, which goes back to the beginning and repeats this routine. If it's open, which means we want to quit, it drops down to the shutdown routine. And basically, we just send speed 0 commands to all 4 of the cars to stop them. Then we send an end command to terminate, which stops the mini panel from processing. So everything stops and everything will sit there until somebody pushes the push button again to start it up. Now we'll come back and take another look at this 2-car routine that we started out with. In demo 9, we ran these 2 cars so they kept moving continuously, but then in demo 10 at the end of the video we showed them when the car that came past the detector would actually do a station stop and come to a complete stop and wait till the other car on the main line came around to the detector. And that's what these there's commands underneath this blue box. As we showed originally, we had no op commands here, and down here these are kind of placeholders. No op command is a do nothing command. But later when we went to demo 10, we added these three commands here, and I'll uncover them. If we add these commands, what we do is we select loco 2, which is the one that after it came across the detector is creeping, and we actually bring it to a complete stop. We send it a speed 0 command, and then we select loco 1 so that when we go down and execute these commands, it's ready to slow down loco 1 when it gets to the detector. And then again, likewise down here, we uncover these commands. It's the same thing. We select loco 1, which is creeping, but we bring it to a complete stop, and we select loco 2. So if we repeat and go up here, we're ready to work with loco 2. And then we've got the same test to repeat or quit and shut down as we had before. But the point being, if we add these three commands here and add these three commands here, we can convert this routine to one where they're both moving to one where the one that comes across the detector into the yard stops instead. It just makes the routine a little more complicated, but it's just another option as the way you can do this.